Hey everybody, it's Jem from the Goater Guild. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about something really important, and that's demon slaying. So demon slaying is something you should be doing as early as possible and making sure you cap it out every week. This is basically the number one thing for PvE that you have to do if you want to get your really good gear. I guess the other thing is mentoring, but really this is the more difficult thing you have to do. So let's start with the basics. So if you push your C button to get to your main menu and you look at the Order tab, this is all of the information you have related to Demon Slaying. Alright, so if you look right here, I am Demonslayer rank tier 4. So it goes up to tier 9, and every successive tier allows you to buy better stuff from the Demonslayer merchants and get better rewards. So you definitely want to rank this up as soon as possible, because I'm actually at a spot right now where my demon slaying is preventing me from getting level 59 gear, even though I've been level 59 for a couple days now. So definitely something you want to level up. So first, let me show you guys how to do this. Alright, so you're going to see over here, after the level 4, I have Demon Slayer points. And so these are essentially your currency. So when you go to these Guardian vendors, I'm going to show you in a second, these guys are where you spend this currency. So consider it like merit points or, any form of money where you need to earn more to buy things. So you'll see this week I've earned 3,258 out of a maximum 40,532. And you do want to try to cap this out if possible. It's definitely very important to get as many of these points as you can because there's a lot of really neat things you can do with them. Alright, you'll see here in this bar that it goes up to 1,000. So these are your weekly rewards. And so there's one at 500, 850, and 1,000. And so you get these different rewards from getting more of the Demon Slayer merit, which is a little different than the points. So consider merit like you're leveling up like you would with any other faction, but the points being the currency. Alright, so looking at the actual bonuses for increasing rank. So if I go from rank 4 up to rank 5, I'm actually going to get 1,200 bronze shards and 57,600 Pyrrha coins. So those are pretty good rewards. And on top of that, I also get this item that gives you some stuff to make gold gear, some stuff to plus up your weapons, special skill book pages, a bunch of really useful things. And then on top of this, the most important thing is these purchasable goods. So you have hematite and the stuff you need to make your 50 to 59 gold gear, some treaties on cultivation. These are actually pretty neat. These help you get your special skill books, and then some other buffs and stuff. So basically the rewards for demon slaying are really good. And so let's talk requirements. So if you want to know the requirements, just look at this box right here. So this is what's going to get me from level 4 to 5. And actually right now I'm going to pop up on the screen over here to the right the requirements for each level. You'll notice that you're seeing for every different rank of Demon Slayer, there's a level requirement and then a merit requirement. There's also a max merit. So the max merit is the amount of merit you can hold before you rank up. So for example, looking at me, I am very close to ranking up to 5. I only need another 140, which I can get just from doing the weekly quest. So I'm gonna probably rank up tomorrow. But I can hold up to 5,000 points before I rank up. And so that's in case you want to just hold these extra points and then have more points towards the next rank. But once you've hit this max of 5,000, you won't be able to rank up more. So I guess this would be if, say, you don't have the dungeon requirement, and that's what this is right here, a requirement to clear a certain dungeon. So an example would be to get Demon Slayer rank 3, you need to do at least one run of Deserted Shrine expert mode. And that could be 1, 2, or 3 star. So there's also other requirements, like to get level 5, I believe you have to do GB, 1 star, 2 star, or 3 star. So that's another thing. If either you can't clear this dungeon or you're not at the right level, you can stack up these extra merit points, but you don't want to lose out on these. So you want to make sure that you're not falling behind on your level and having to miss out on these Demon Slayer points, because you'll see in a minute that the stuff you could buy is really good. And then following this, you'll see over here on the right, this shows you what quests you need to do. So there's a daily, and then there's 2 weeklies. So the daily just shows you what dungeon and boss you need to do. For me, that's my daily. And then my 2 weeklies were Grand Bulwark, one of which was doing a hard mode. And then this one is doing 1, 2, or 3 star. So you definitely want to make sure that you get all of these done. It's going to be important for you because these are your major source for earning the merit. Alright, so this is what you need to know as far as getting your level up. Now, as far as actually getting some points, you get that from a bunch of different things. So if I bring up my U menu, which is your dailies, the number one main source is this daily token. So you say you can get Demonslayer order daily. It's not very difficult, but you get a lot of Demonslayer points from this. And then on top of this, all of the different dungeons give you Demonslaying points. There's a different amount for every one. So when you clear a dungeon, you'll see up in like the top portion of your screen, it's going to tell you, hey, you got some favor, you got this reward, you got that reward. You can look and see how much Demonslaying points you get from each one, and that'll give you a good idea of what kind of dungeons you want to run. What I found is the more difficult a dungeon, the more Demonslaying points it's going to give. So, you know, you'll get more from, say, GB than you will from Deserted Shrine, than you will from Darkfall, etc. And yeah, so anything that shows you that little Demonslayer point icon, the little circle, you get Demonslayer from. So like you'll see in Scour, you don't have it, but in Guardian Trials, you can have it. So definitely want to make sure you're running those Demonslayer dailies. And then at the end, when you run a dungeon, you know the 4 treasure chests that pop up on your screen, those can also contain Demonslayer points. And just as a pro tip, if you have a lot of extra Imperial notes, and I have a ton of them, I have 250,000, and that's actually on the low side. I just spent a ton leveling up skills. So if you have a lot, you might want to go ahead and just up those rewards you get, because you know you can only run a certain number of dungeons a day. If you get lucky and hit, say, Excelsior or hit Demonslayer points, and you want to just spend a couple of notes to increase those rewards, probably not a bad idea. Alright, so as far as what you can buy from the Guardian merchants, so I am in Citus Ur, and I'm going to bring up the map to show you guys. I'm up right here in this northeast corner, and all these different merchants are all together. So there's a bunch of them. So you have your lesser merchants, and these are if you're a low level of Demonslayer, you can buy blue accessories. And I think these are kind of trashy. I wouldn't bother with those. They're not very good, and you can get better dungeon gear just running dungeons. So I would skip these two, the armor and accessories. Now, the weapon merchant and the advanced armor merchant, this is where you get some pretty good stuff. And so this is kind of a matter of philosophy. So let's just highlight over, say, this weapon. So this is a 57 offhand weapon. And if you look at its base stats compared to my plus 846 weapon, it's actually a lot better. It has good rolls on it, and it has much higher magic attack and other things. So definitely an upgrade for me. Now, the issue with this weapon is that you can't turn it into anything else. When you're done with it, you just have to break it down. The good thing is, and if you look kind of over here at this part of the screen, I can't really move my mouse and highlight, but if you look down there, you'll see that it actually says you get 90% of the purchase price back in Guardian Souls. So basically, you can buy these with your Demonslaying points, use them to help you farm up either your player gear or your dungeon gear. And I would probably recommend you do this, depending on the circumstance. If you want to craft your player gear, that's going to be better. Or if you have a really strong group that's going to help you run through. But if you're trying to get into parties, it's going to be really difficult for you. You want to make sure that you're getting a high gear score, because people are really stupid about that. You know, I cleared dungeons with 80k gear score where they were looking for 115 in public chat, so those numbers are kind of nonsense. But if you need to run with a group and you're trying to find parties, you'll probably want to pick up this gear and at least transfer your pluses over to it. I wouldn't waste any money unlocking the tiers of it, because this is truly just gear you're going to recycle, and you won't get that stuff back. But the plus, you can go over to the person that you plus up your gear and just transfer it. So this is something that'll help you to farm your dungeon gear, because I've noticed from 49 to the 59 tier, you need literally double the components, and they drop way less frequently. Alright, so moving on. Let's see. When you come over to the armor guy, it's basically the same thing. This guy's going to sell you all the different pieces of armor, and you'll notice like 53, and then the chest is 51. So basically it spans from 50 up to 59. And one thing to keep in mind is that if you look down here in this bottom section again, you're going to see that there's actually tier requirements. So right now the tier requirements are pretty low for the gear at this level. It's Demonslayer rank 3 and 4. If you want to move up to the gear that's in the 60s, it's going to be ranks 5 and 6. And then when you get to the higher, obviously it's going to be ranks like 8 and 9. So definitely, if you want to be buying this gear and using it to farm up the dungeons, you want to get the Demonslayer rank up. But really, here is, I think, the most important vendor. So this guy, the Guardian Grocer, has a lot of really cool stuff. I'm just going to point out a couple of things really quickly that I think are the best. So if you need to get Excelsior, you could buy these things right here. They'll give you a mob that'll give you Excelsior. They're not very expensive, and if you want to just run around and farm those instead of using your XP, that's an option. Also, you have these essences that either can be used in crafting and upgraded or just give you a flat stat boost for a little while. It's kind of useful maybe during a boss fight, but that's really the major things here. The lesser materials, I think I've gone over these before, but these are, Demonic Dow, the really low-level PvE and PvP marks, Hematite. This is basically all the stuff you need right here for your 40 to 49 gear. Then you have the common goods, which are basically better versions of the lesser goods. One thing to note is these coarse brews let you kill more scour monsters every day. And there's other ways to get the coarse brews, but if you happen to have a lot of Demonslayer points, it's not a bad way, especially considering how little the amount of points required is. And then here is the really good stuff. If you're trying to really, get to endgame stuff, 59, 60 plus, this is where you're going to start finding the stuff you really need. Number one is Ascension Essences. You want to run around and get as many of these as you can because these are going to help you level up. I actually burned all of level 60 down to almost 59 with just leveling up my cultivation skills. So these are probably one of your major sources to get those back. And you have a weekly limit, so you should go ahead and buy those if you have extra Demonslayer points. These PvE marks are pretty good as well. I guess another pro tip is it's kind of confusing. So Demon Resistance gives you defense to demons, so actual just straight up reduction in damage, and offense marks give you straight increase. I know it's called Mana Wrench, which you're like, what the hell is that? But it's not actually related to mana at all. It's just extra damage to monsters. So maybe that's a little weird translation, but these are definitely good, and here is a good source to buy them. And then on top of this, there's badges. Badges is another really good thing. You want to definitely buy one of these, and you could go over to the badge merchant and upgrade those every week. Hematite 2 is something you're definitely going to need. And you'll notice that Hematite 2 is Demonslayer rank 5. And so Hematite is basically in every single piece of gear you're going to make at that tier. And so even if you want to make your jewelry because you've run, say, GB Hards and Slaughters, but you haven't really done the expert modes a lot, you're not going to be able to get those items frequently, so you're going to have to probably start with jewelry or, say, boots, items that don't require it. But you still need the Hematite. And so unless you're breaking down a lot of dungeon gear or buying it, this is going to be your main source. And again, tier 5, so you want to make sure you're leveling that up. And then looking on the second and third pages, you'll see here's the materials, these guys right here, comparable to the 40 to 49 gear. Just this is for the 50 to 59 gear, and you'll see that you could buy one of these a week at rank 5 and then another one a week at rank 6. And this was very similar to how the other levels worked. The only difference now is instead of needing 4 to make your weapon, you need 8. So the grind gets really real at this point. And then you'll see, the higher PvP and PvE marks as well. Definitely cool stuff to buy. And then finally here, the fine materials. This is your stuff to make your really high level stuff. This is Demonslayer rank 8, and this is your 65 to 75 gear. So, Hematite 3, etc. So this is where you really need to go to upgrade your gear. So again, Demonslayer rank directly ties into upgrading your gear. It's how you get your stuff upgraded, and more importantly, I think it's how you get those PvE marks that you can use to really just help you buff up your damage and your defense. So, finally, there's the bookseller, and this guy's pretty neat too. If you look, he sells different skill books, and so you'll see that some of these are related to your cultivation. Like for me, this is Advanced Lightning Orb Scroll 2, so that's on your cultivation pages, those second and third tiers. That's how you get those. You either get them from drops or you could buy them here. Though you'll notice he doesn't have very many. He just has a couple of them. What he's missing is probably, 90% of them. So anyways, that is the stuff that you could buy with Demonslayer rank. And that is what it's all about. Definitely recommend you guys do that and try to farm as much as you can. And so one other thing I want to mention, and I'm not an expert on this. I've just heard about this. There's a weekly event you can do. I know that last week it was on a Thursday. And basically there's these beams of light, and you should get a pop-up on your screen. I believe it was Thursday evening into nighttime. There's these beams of light, and as you kill mobs, whoever kills each mob gets some extra Demonslayer points. So, definitely something that that you can look into, and I apologize for not knowing about that, but I did want to mention that it exists so that you guys can look into it. And probably once I do a little more research, I'll come back and annotate this video and put up onto it what it's all about. But for now, just know there's an event that's on top of just your regular weekly stuff that seems to give you some Demonslayer points and merit. So anyways, that's it for me. Thank you again, Gem from the Goater Guild. If anybody has any questions or is looking to join a really nice guild, we're on Snowpine. Just send me a message, add me as a friend, whatever you want to do. And yeah, always nice talking for you guys, and look forward to seeing you in the next video. See you later.